My name is Irvin Arana. I represent Ugly People, the Cypher Addicts movement, and I've been DJing since 1998. I first got influenced to DJ because of my next door neighbor. I used to live in a duplex and my neighbor was a DJ and he just threw parties. So I was like a little 13-year-old kid outside, like looking and just fascinated, you know. I was always into music as well, so I would say that was definitely like the very, very beginning. At that time, I was just more like watching, you know what I mean? And he was actually playing techno. He would play techno and Spanish music. So he'd play cumbias and stuff. And it wasn't until later that I was like, you know, into hip hop and neo soul. And then naturally, like I'm a b-boy first. So naturally, I would start collecting breaks and, you know, I never thought like, okay, I'm gonna spin for b-boys. It was just something I wanted to collect. My mind was always set to spin at clubs. My first exposure to hip hop was watching B Street in 1993. So in 93, I started breaking with my friend. You know, we started Ugly People in 96. And at the same time, I was always into writing, you know, not just graffiti or tagging or hand styles. I just was fascinated with letters, period. Even in third grade, like I was really into cursive, you know, so I guess you could say I was breaking and I was into writing simultaneously. And I always wanted to DJ, but I couldn't never afford it. You know, it wasn't until I graduated high school that I was able to buy my first turntable and I was able to start spinning. And like I said, at first it was with, you know, hip hop and breaks. My first setup was a Gemini, I think, I want to say 2000. It was like the wannabe Technics. It cost like $250. A little small $50 Gemini mixer and a tape deck. You know, that was my first setup. And how I started was I would try and beat match to whatever was playing on the radio. You know, so it kept my improvising sharp because it's like, oh, that's on, we work on that. You know, can't rewind and practice that. Some of my first gigs in Long Beach, there's a place called Homeland. It's been open since 1999. And DJ Silum, he was a DJ out of San Pedro. He used to just come and set up for the b-boys. You know, and since I was already there practicing, I would show up and with my little bag of records and he would let me play. So that was my very first exposure to being able to play for a crowd. After that, I did that for about 5 years religiously, like every Tuesday. And you know, I knew people like Easy Rock. And from that, he invited me to spin at some of his parties. He used to throw legendary backyard parties. And so I started doing that. And that was, I feel like that was my real beginning, because at those parties, I got to spin alongside Music Man Miles, you know, from the Root Down. And 1 year Z-Trip came. So I'm DJing backyard parties with Z-Trip. And it wasn't breaks. It was like the music that, you know, that I initially wanted to spin, which was like just neo soul, funk, hip hop, just party music. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the first time that I got to really do what I wanted to do publicly. You know, my philosophy with DJing, with anything, is that the one thing that you have to offer that no one on the planet has to offer is your preferences, your taste, you know, how you view things. And being that I'm a b-boy first, DJing at b-boy events, I always imagine like what do I want to hear and how do I want it to be spun. You know, I have the utmost respect for breakbeat DJs and the beginning of DJing with breaking, you know, spinning the breaks. But my style is, I feel like, is more of a party style. You know, I don't want to hear breaks for 5 hours. You know, I want to hear intros. I want to hear lows, highs. Like I want to be taken on a journey. As a dancer, that's what I want, you know. And so as a DJ, that's the approach I take. I want to be able to, you know, have that exciting moment and then bring you back. And also it's to test the dancer. You know, I kind of feel like there's a lot of b-boys that can dance at 130 beats per minute, but they can't at like 94 or 90. So, you know, like I said, as a dancer first, that's what I would want to hear. So that's how I spin. Finding music for me, you know, people ask me that all the time actually, like other dancers. And I always just say, follow the links. You know, if you're into a certain artist, you can always learn about that artist. And everything you learn will take you somewhere else. You know, for example, I'm a big Mos Def fan. And, you know, in that neo soul era, I was really into like, okay, if he was featured on something, it's like, okay, what's that artist about? So if he did a track with Amel Larue, it was like, okay, who's Amel Larue? If he did something with Jill Scott, which Jill Scott wrote for The Roots, for You Got Me, those are kind of the obvious. But if you dig a little deeper, Mos Def did a song with Charlie Hunter on an album called Songs of the Analog Playground. And it's a jazz album. Like I would never know this guy. And it's a strictly jazz album. He's not even rapping on the album, he's singing. You know what I mean? And on that album, Norah Jones was on it before she was big. So you just keep following those links. You know, who's Norah Jones? What is she into? What's going on with this Charlie Hunter guy? Who produced it? What record label? And if you just keep following those links, you begin to really accumulate like the style of music that you like. Whatever medium you rock or whatever medium you're using, if you can really rock, if you can rock a crowd, like to me, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I do come from the vinyl era, and I've had my moments where, you know, I want to spin a bunch of vinyl, and then there's moments where I'm just like, you know what, like I'm tired of carrying this stuff around. Let me just do this. And right now I'm at the time where I'm sort of falling in love again with the collection I have. You know what I mean? So sitting there and digging through records, my own collection, kind of is re-inspiring me right now. So I guess to answer the question, I'm all about just whatever, you know, whatever moves you and however you rock the party or the event or whatnot, you know. But actually, let me add, but you have to respect the foundation. You know, like you might be able to rock a crowd on a laptop and it's not even Serato, and I'll be like, all right, that was cool. But I kind of have a problem with people who neglect the history, who are like, well, I got this computer and yeah, I don't care about buying anything, you know, whatever. When it's that attitude, I'm just kind of like, all right, dude, you do your thing, you know? Well, I always say first, you got to make sure that you love music. You know, if you're not absolutely in love with music, I would think about doing something else. You know, but if you are in love with music, I would say just start paying attention. You know, pay attention to titles, you know, learn and master the craft. You know, if you just want to, I guess, be a selector, you know, that's cool, but also understand what it is to beat match, understand what it is to scratch and flirt with it. You know what I mean? Know it. Maybe it's not your preference, but you should know it, in my opinion. You know, just really respect the culture, respect the art, and have fun with it. If you're not having fun, in general, in life, if you're not having fun, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Cypher Addicts is an event that I'm a part of. I'm the resident official DJ, I guess you could say. It was conceived by Jess Skills, I want to say in '06, in her apartment in New York. And, you know, for me, I feel like it's a perfect marriage, you know, because I spent a lot of my time spinning breaks, but I also had this idea of how it should be spun and how it should be presented. And since we're in a competition-dominated scene, I really felt like it was missing. So Cypher Addicts comes, and I feel like it took the party aspect that I was always so into and it took the classical b-boy image, or the image that I have of b-boys, and it's the platform for that. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to give a shout out to Just Skills and really all the cypher addicts who believe in that movement. And you know, I hope that the scene can sort of really balance itself out and go in both those directions, where it's okay to compete, but let's also remember where it came from. You can find me at Homeland, you know, since '98, still going on. I'm there on Mondays and Tuesdays in Long Beach. Root Down 15-year anniversary is coming up this week. Also, Root Down might be doing a series of like one-off events, so keep your ear out for that. And then I had a night called Low Key that I'm thinking about resurrecting. And then we also started a night called Open that, you know, we're in the process of moving, but that's gonna come up soon. But you know, you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Facebook, all that social network stuff, and all the info will be up there.
Okinawa. 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 Wanje. Anguasso. Okinawa. 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 Wanje. Anguasso. Singasso. Asangwa moko, moko moko moko. Anyangwa moko, moko moko moko. Inyo tele 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 di lambo. Oh oh oh. Tele sonicano. Ha, hey amolo. Eyambolo, Okunawa, Eyambolo, Bolo, Eyambolo, Okilo, Nyawandinga. Yopse, 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 Yopse.
Action. Alright, what's up everybody? So that little mix I did, I started off with Zenga by Manu Dibango. And basically all I really did in the intro is do a little doubling. So let me kind of take you through that. So we start. And then repeat. Little scratch here. And then I'll let it play out a little bit. Give it a little tease with the horn. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, when that horn comes back, I might do a little back and forth. Keep it real simple.
Sing that song.
So basically, my approach when I'm actually mixing is I like to keep it as simple as possible. As a dancer, I don't want to be annoyed by the DJ just kind of, going back and forth a whole bunch of times. But also, when I practice, and I'm not necessarily DJing in front of people, that's when I try and sharpen up my skills as much as I can. So this is kind of like my practice session. This is what I would do. And I'm kind of random with it. Like I said, all I'm really doing is really trying to get as sharp as possible. So practice would look a little like this. So when I'm practicing, like I said, I go off a little bit more, but when I'm presenting an actual DJ set, I keep it as simple as possible, but I try to add my flavor as much as I can. And being that I'm a perfectionist, if it's not right, I won't do it until I've absolutely mastered it. So it's a little bit of my take and my approach.